Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Love in Paradise. But before we do, we're going to do some hot goss. So, first thing, if you remember, good old John Walters, who is married to Rachel. And if the third season was quite a bit ago, but they're the couple that she couldn't move to London or wherever he lived in England. I'm not sure where he lived in England. She couldn't move there because her oldest daughter shared custody with her ex, and he wouldn't allow it. And he had bar fights and permanently impaired a guy, probably gouged his eye out or something like that. Well, John Walters has gone to his Instagram to say the following, and I quote, "Dear friends, it's over. I will not be joining Rachel and the girls in the US. The future we wanted for so long isn't the future we will have. We knew before we started that it would be hard, but we always had hope to keep us going when things got tough. Our situation is hopeless, and I don't know what the next chapter in our life will look like. I'm a husband and father by invitation, and I have never taken that for granted." I think that's what he's going to say. "We aren't the perfect couple. I know I'm far from the husband and father I want to be or wish I could be, but a long-distance relationship are only ever meant to be temporary. We need time and space to get our heads around this and figure out what happens next. I don't know what else to say other than thank you for the support over the years and being here every step of the way, John." So I don't know what they expected, honestly, because I mean, it's not like this guy had one little teensy weensy bar fight. He's had quite a bit. And again, permanently impaired somebody by gouging his eye out. So, yeah, I don't know what they expected. I feel like Rachel should have, I don't know, thought differently. I know love can make you do stupid things, but when you are a mother to 2 kids and you're with a person who from then you knew chances were slim, I would rethink. That's just me. But anyways, I wish them the best. Let's move on. So next, there's as I mentioned, actually I did not mention this because I actually had to cut it out of an episode. But Nick Viall and his fiance are now married. Victoria Fuller apparently was one of her bridesmaids. So that was a thing, which I believe I would have talked about Victoria Fuller. Did I talk about Victoria Fuller? If I didn't, I also had to cut that out. Her and her mans are no longer together. Anyways. So yeah, I didn't mention it, but unfortunately I had to cut it out of an episode. So you actually didn't hear it. But yes, they are married. And apparently their honeymoon didn't go very well. So after their wedding, which was in Georgia on Natalie Joy's family property, they did hit some speed bumps at customs in Turks and Caicos airport, where they had planned to spend their celebratory vacation. So this is what Nick had to say about it, and he said this on his May 2nd episode of the Viall Files. He said, quote, "We're on no sleep, kind of back-to-back nights. The agent stamps the passport, is about to hand it back, and goes, 'There's a page torn here.' So he actually thought that it was him. He was the problem. It's me. Because apparently he had lost his driver's license and was using his passport as ID. So he thought maybe a page got accidentally ripped out or something. Turns out, no, it wasn't him. It was Natalie's passport, apparently, that had a torn page out of it. So the customs workers informed Natalie and Nick, and they also had their their daughter with them, who's only 2 months old, which couldn't get someone to damn. But I mean, she's only 2 months old, so I wouldn't want to necessarily travel without my 2 month old either. But anyways, she's also there. They were told that they would have to send Natalie back to the US over concerns about her documents. You couldn't just let it go. You couldn't just let it go. But there's more to this. Apparently, they the couple said that they had spent weeks prepping their daughter and Natalie's passports to go, because probably she didn't have a passport either. She's only 2 months old, so probably didn't have a passport yet, anything. So they're preparing, spending money to do this. And so they could do this trip. But apparently with this now being told to them, apparently this brought her to tears. Understandably, this is her honeymoon. And apparently she was radiating with anxiety, according to Nick. So Nick said, you know what? I'm telling myself, you're 2 days on the fucking job. Time to be a husband. Time to step up. You stay calm. Everything's going to be fine, even though he's probably freaking out himself. But, he said he was freaking out because, the money that went into this trip that they're now going to lose and is a non-refundable trip, which is always the case. It's like it felt like a nightmare. And luckily, though, based on their lucky stars, I'm sure they probably said, listen, we were there, and then the customs people told us we had to turn back around because apparently there's a page ripped out of my wife's passport. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Because the hotel graciously refunded them. And through the nightmare scenario, Nick and Natalie were able to find silver linings. As Natalie put it, this was the first thing we had to conquer as a husband and a wife. Well, congratulations. This seems like the worst way to do it. But anyways. But as long as they can find the silver lining in this, hopefully they can do another trip later on down the road. And she needs to figure out what's going on with her passport. How does a page get ripped out of your passport just like that? Anyways, I'm sure it happens. Of course, shit happens, but, anyway. So, yeah, that's that. Let's go to the next one. So, as we know, Bachelorette is coming soon, season 21, Bachelorette, and Jen Tran is going to be our Bachelorette. And I think we can all agree, as much as I think a lot of us are happy that this is actually happening, that we're seeing an Asian female lead in this season, this new season coming, I think we were all a little shocked because Jen was, yes, she was there for quite some time. I think she was she didn't make it a hometown, so she would have been like, right, she let go right before hometowns. So, she was there quite a bit, but I was still pretty shocked by the choice of her being Bachelorette. And I think a lot of us fans were also probably a little surprised. I mean, I did a poll, and the result for Maria being Bachelorette was, there's no beating that. There's no beating that at all. And I just thought it was an odd choice to have her do it. I mean, even Rachel could have. I mean, I probably didn't want to do it, but even Rachel could have done it because she is of mixed race and she is half Filipino. But with that being said, I might have an answer for you as to why Maria wasn't the one who was Bachelorette. Because it turns out, guys, she was supposed to be Bachelorette. She almost went, she kind of went to the last second before backing out. Now, here's what the article has to say. So yes, Maria was going to be the lead for season 21 of Bachelorette. And She revealed this on May 1st on the May 1st episode of Call Her Daddy podcast that she had accepted the role. She said, "I was offered the role. It was mine until I said it wasn't. And yeah, it became very overwhelming to the point where I had to decline." So after becoming a favorite, I think we can all agree here, she was a fan favorite. We were all campaigning, Bachelor Nation was campaigning for her to be the next Bachelorette. And she admitted, she was doing fittings for the Bachelorette. And I don't know what that means, but I guess maybe, I don't know what that means, but doing fittings, doing something, I don't know. And she was doing that. And she said, it was set in stone. I was in it. So during the interview, she brings up Jen, how it was brought up that she was going to be the Bachelorette after the final rose. She said she was always verbalizing how badly she wanted this. When everyone around me was so supportive of me being in this position and everyone wanted this for me, I kind of took a second and I'm like, why am I not happy? Why am I not excited about this? And it took me realizing that it's just not my time, where I was like, guys, respectfully, I need to decline. I need to take a step back. Now, I definitely understand that if she wasn't happy in the decision to become Bachelorette and maybe felt that she had to do it because the fans wanted her to do it, that's not enough. She needs to want it. And if Jen really wants this, then go for it. You can tell she clearly really wanted this. So yeah, I'm all about it. But it kind of explains, like, it actually puts a lot in perspective now knowing this, because I remember thinking during the ATR that they really were focusing on Maria a little bit while Jen was, there being announced as Bachelorette. And I noticed they really were focusing on her throughout too, and really focusing on the fact that she's not backstage with where she needs to be in order to be announced. She's in the audience. And that kind of made me wonder, I'm like, why do they keep focusing on her so much? This makes sense now, because she was supposed to be it and now she's not. But yes, I do think that she needs to want it. I do wonder if later on down the road they will kind of pull in, what was this guy's name? Ari? Is it Ari? Remember that guy's name? He was on, oh shit, whose season was he on? Anyways, doesn't matter. He had his own season after he had been on The Bachelorette, if I believe correctly, right? But it was like a while after. And I feel like it was a bad choice. But anyways, he was on a while after. So I do wonder if, like, somewhere down the road, because I think Maria, besides, she kind of got like Juan Pablo type love, which I'm so sorry to use that as a reference, but she really did get that kind of love and adoration. So I do wonder if later on down the road, because that she, if she isn't already in a relationship or whatever, but later on down the road, she would come back and do it if she so chooses. But, you never know. Maybe she just wants to stick in good old my neck of the woods and find someone here. Although I'm out of the dating pool, so I don't know what it's like, but I wish her the best. Anyways, let's continue with this. She revealed that she was just not in the right headspace to be the lead, knowing the extensive process it took to be just a contestant on The Bachelorette. She just didn't want to waste anyone's time on The Bachelorette if she wasn't fully in it. That's when she knew she had to walk away. But don't also expect Maria to potentially be on BIP. Is BIP still coming back? I thought they canceled it. Anyways, she said she's not going to be on BIP. She is single, but she won't be there. And I think that is okay. But I'm going to do one more piece of Hot Goss just because we've been really focusing on Bachelorette. So I'm going to shift gears to Below Deck very quickly, and then we will hop into the episode. So, Ben and Barbie apparently are arguing on social media. So in April of 2024, Ben apparently posted 2 affectionate photos with Barbie, captioning them Barbs, without providing any type of context to said pictures. However, Barbie's response to that post was not even close to being fucking friendly. She brought up a previous incident with him, apparently publicly criticizing her, writing, I guess this was also on social media, quote, "You literally just," so she wrote this, "You literally just dragged me last week on your story. Now you want to post me?" And she's like, "Make it make sense." So apparently Natalia, if you remember Natalia from Below Deck Med, Natalia is rallying behind Barbie, lending her support to the comment section of this post. However, in Ben fashion, the narcissist he fucking is, the asshole he fucking is, Ben didn't appreciate this mini reunion and lashing out by both of these ladies, because how dare women defend themselves, basically. He told Natalia, "Get out of the comments." No, guess what, Ben? Social media is a public forum. If you don't want Natalia to comment on something, fucking block her. If you don't want attention to come to you, then don't post shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Get the fuck off of social media. Get the fuck off my TV screen. No one gives a shit about you. We're all really, apparently, I will probably talk about that on a separate episode. They are filming episode 12, season 12 of Below Deck currently. And fans are hoping, apparently if it's a fan that caught this, fans are hoping that Ben is not on this fucking boat. Because I really think St. David has had enough of Ben and his shenanigans. I should the fuck have. Anyways. So yeah, he's like, get out of the comments, whatever. Suggesting that she should focus on her own leadership role. What? What are you fucking talking about, you piece of shit? Whether she's in a leadership role or not in a leadership role, what does that have to do with this particular post that you posted? And her defending Barbie. Ugh. Anyways. This harsh comment further fueled Barbie's anger, who told Ben to stop embarrassing himself. Too late. She pleaded, "Make it stop." But Ben swiftly shut her down with a fierce response. He declared he'll only stop when she stops, quote, "blowing smoke up people's ass who are blatantly bad people." What the fuck does that mean? He's full of shit. I hate him so much. But yeah, I will talk about the new season of Below Deck in another episode. But for now, let's stop with the hot goss there and let's head into the reason that we are here. 90 Day Fiance Love in Paradise Season 4, Episode 3, The Mile High Club. Blech. Okay. Luke and Madeline. Okay. Madeline apparently tells us, and him, that she opened up a beauty bar. She said 3 months ago that she opened up this bar. So she's wanting to show him this. She's very passionate about her beauty bar. And she's wanting to show him this. So they're going to the store first. And we're looking at the storefront. We're looking at the sign. And Luke is like, "Oh, great job, babe. How do you spell beauty?" Y'all, she has a sign on her storefront. It's called Made Beauty. And she has spelled beauty Beuaty. If you clocked it throughout the store, it's spelled like that absolutely everywhere. And he's like, "So how do you spell beauty?" And she's like, "I know how to spell beauty." And she says, I can't remember how she spelled beauty right up until she got to the Y and she said E. She's like, I know how to spell in Spanish. Cause she's, why wouldn't she call it Made Beauty in Spanish? Why would she call it Made Beauty in English? Why wouldn't she just say that in Spanish? Because she lives in fucking Colombia. I'm so confused. This has to be Rent a Shop. This is so weird. Anyways, so yeah. And again, my mom's like, maybe she can fix that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's going to cost so much money for her to fix the sign on the storefront. She's going to have to fix it throughout the beauty shop as well. The beauty bar as well. And that's going to cost money as well. But not to only mention that, she probably wrote it incorrectly. I don't know what the equivalent is in Colombia, but here in Canada and maybe similarly in the States, you have to file articles of incorporation. That is the first step to starting a business, is articles of incorporation. It's probably spelt wrong in the articles of incorporation, and to go and fix that is a hell in a handbasket to amend an article of incorporation. It's not fucking worth it. So this is what it's going to be called. Anyway. So, anyway, she's very passionate about it, like I've mentioned. It's very nice inside, despite the name being incorrect. She has like business cards and everything, like good for her. And he said that he has sunk a 10K into this business for her. And he starts like asking, so he starts asking her, questions about, the month to month. How much is she going to be making in the business? How many clients does she have to have per month in order to break at least even? And she says that she needs to have, I think I didn't write this. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. This was her from the beginning. So each month she would need to make 3 million CO pesos, so Colombian pesos, which is the equivalent of 767 US dollars. So how many clients would she need to have in order to make that happen? So she would need to have at least 3 to 4 clients per day. So that's roughly about, I think I math, but I think he basically said somewhere around 60, or maybe he said 90, maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, enough each month. Let's just say 90 clients. So he's like, okay, well, in your first month, how many clients did you have? She said maybe 20. So nowhere near the amount that she needs. And she's just starting out though. Like word of mouth is important. Like that, it takes time with businesses. It doesn't just happen. So yeah, it needs to be 90 to break even, 90 clients. But he's asking a lot of questions, which is definitely a red, like that's going to tip her off and be like, why are you asking so many questions without context? You know what I mean? But she's getting annoyed because she's like, I'm working really hard. Like, why are you asking me so many fucking questions? So he says, I'm asking all of these questions because I lost my job. So she asks, well, when did this happen? He says, a month ago, as we know. And he says, I only have about 3 months worth of 3 months of finances in order to pay the rent, pay the bills, all of that. That's all I have. So she's upset, obviously. I think we can all agree we all would be upset in this moment, when finding this out. But I did find like she actually handled herself pretty well. In this, I thought for sure she's gonna be like, go home. Get the fuck out of Colombia. But so I can't remember who it was, if it was him or her, but one of them says we need to make some money. No shit. She says it's bullshit. She feels worried about the salon, and that's understandable. But she gets maybe the reason he didn't tell her is because maybe he feels embarrassed about not having a job. He loves to spend money on me, spoil me. But she says he has to remember we are a team. I'm shocked. But wait, he still has to tell her something else though. But I think there's more. I think there's more he has to tell her, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm shocked. I'm shocked by the fact that she seems so understanding. I mean, yeah, she was upset that he didn't tell her, which I would be too. But I'm surprised that she's like, we're a team. Well, yeah. Anyway, we'll see how far that goes. So they get to the apartment and she says, no, wait here. Wait, sit. And she's definitely taken the opportunity to get sexy for him. I actually really hate saying that when she's 19. But anyways. And while he's waiting, he says, she is the best lover he's ever had. And I'm like, again, I feel really grossed out because she's 19. Anyways, this is what he's saying. He's like, they'll fuck everywhere. They don't care. Again, she's 19. I just feel really gross talking about this when she's barely legal and probably wasn't legal when he met her. She says that he is also the best. Well, like we've established in MILF Manor, the older you get, the better it is, right? Yeah. Anyway, anyways. And I don't know if I heard this incorrectly, but I feel like she said he's her first, which makes it feel even worse for some fucking reason that this 30-year-old man was preying on this barely legal girl. This is like Jonathan and Fernanda, but for some reason it feels worse than it did with Jonathan and Fernanda. I felt like with Jonathan and Fernanda, I just ignored the elephant in the room because I felt like Fernanda really could handle herself. Whereas and she didn't come across as like acting like a little girl with Jonathan. But I feel like this weird thing with Madeline that like, she seems so childlike. It feels like a kink on his part. It feels really gross. Anyways, but anyway, they're gonna do their thing. And he does say to Aston is in the moment though that he still has to tell her that this is not the permanent move. And he's really freaked out to tell her because she is probably going to lose her shit. Yeah, she is. Again, we saw how she was excited. I'm really curious to see how she's gonna be when she's mad. So let's move on to the next. Let's do Sean and Aaliyah first, or second, I should say. And then we'll take the break and move on to that. So Sean and Aaliyah, we are going shopping. But before they do go shopping, we're just kind of taking a little walk, kind of lives like close to the beach or whatever, and they stop and get like this pineapple vodka drink, which actually sounds really delightful. But anyways, but now we're gonna go shopping. And look, before I even finish, this sounds delightful. Like I would do this. This sounds delightful because it's not like, store-bought, already squeezed or whatever pineapple juice that you get from the store, which I'm sure you can still do, but it's freshly squeezed pineapple juice with some vodka in it. That sounds fucking incredible and refreshing. That sounds refreshing. Anyways, so anyway, we're going shopping now. So Leah says that she never got to really shop in a way that she feels like she could. She wanted to kind of go all out and shop in the way that we all want to be able to shop, be comfortable in the clothing that we're wearing, but she just never had that opportunity. So meanwhile, though, while she is super excited to do some shopping, Sean is going to be a bump on the fucking log complaining that she's going shopping. We'll get to it. So she comes out in this dress. She looks fucking incredible in this dress. But what does Sean say when she comes out in this dress? Very form-fitting. No, wrong fucking answer, you piece of shit. Say she looks good. Say she looks pretty. That's what you need to say. But don't worry, because it's all for his own selfish reasons why he says what he says to her. He does eventually say, yeah, she looks, you look pretty, but it's after you say, oh, it's really form-fitting. What the fuck does that mean? So he says, I have been kind of exclusively dating men for a long time now. We don't know when he got divorced with his wife. And he's like, when it comes to, this kind of thing, it's that stereotype of a man. He feels like a stereotype of the man going shopping with his wife, sitting there holding her purse. First of all, number one, why does the man need to come shopping with you? Because honestly, like if we're already shopping together and we stop in a place and I want to do some shopping or whatever, then sit there and shut up, or I can take my own goddamn purse and you go do what you gotta do. But I don't see where the problem is in that. Honestly, I know some men are different. I've been with men who love to go out there and shop, and I've known men who just don't give a shit and will flat out refuse to try clothing on, and will try clothing on at home, and then if it doesn't work out, they'll send it back, and I'm just like, what? But anyways, I've been in the spectrum. I totally understand that he maybe doesn't want to be here right now, but just do something that she likes to do. You're getting acquainted with this new person, this new person that she is becoming that you've never met in person. So just shut up and do the damn thing with her, But he doesn't like the whole just sitting here. He said it's boring, whatever. And he's like, with men, it's just so much easier. They'll just go, maybe have a shave, maybe not, maybe they'll just throw on some jeans on, or maybe it'll be shorts. It's just about the ease of it. And I wonder, and I said, okay, I'm not questioning his decisions for being with men. He knows where he lands in his sexuality better than anyone else. But I do question, are you with men because you're lazy? Are you with men because of the ease of being with a man versus a woman? Are you misogynistic? Do you hate women? I don't know. I'm asking all of these questions in my head because I'm like, your reasons for being with men don't make sense to me. If you're going to be with men, it's because you're sexually, mentally, emotionally, whatever, attracted to men. And if you're with women, it's because you are emotionally, sexually, physically, same thing with women. Or whatever else. Whoever else that you want to be with is because you are into that person. I wouldn't be with a man versus a woman because it's easier to be with a man because, well, they'll just throw something on and be done with it, which I'm going to say something about that too. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be with a man because I am sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally attracted to a man. And I'm not, but if I were to be attracted to women, same thing. I don't understand this whole thing. And on another trope of that, Sean, if you think that there are men out there who don't care about their appearance, you are sadly mistaken. Whether you are straight, gay, or anything in between, it doesn't change the fact that men very much care about their appearance. Now, maybe I'm coming from a trope of, and again, I can't even use race because I've been with black men who don't give a shit, and I've been with black men who do. So it's like they care about how they look in certain situations. If you're going out or whatever, you care about your appearance. Hello, has anyone out there been with a Jamaican man? You try telling a Jamaican man that he needs to walk out looking like a bum. It's not going to happen. They very much care about how they look. So this whole thing about the ease of being with a man is bullshit to me. It just doesn't make sense. So then she, kind of back to the shopping, she goes back out and she's wearing these very short shorts, and she starts twerking, and Sean's just not about it. Now again, sorry if you can hear stuff in the background, that's work. But if you can, again, I feel like it doesn't matter about where she lies in her identity. But men who are, just identify as men, right? Not someone just transitioning, because now she no longer identifies as a man, she identifies as a woman. But I'm just trying to make a point here. Men twerk too. That's the main part here. Men twerk too. So why is he so uncomfortable by the fact that she's twerking? Like, have you never seen her ass twerk before? I'm so confused. Whether when she was Douglas or when she is now Aaliyah. I'm just very confused. And he says, like, he makes comments about how, I'm not seeing any part of Douglas and her, her personality anymore. Like, Douglas was so peaceful. And that peaceful, and I'm gonna put a better word to that in a minute, that quote unquote peaceful, unsure personality, I'm pretty sure he used the word unsure personality, worked better for him because that's maybe his personality than this particular now outgoing personality of Aaliyah. Now, this is going to be multiple things here. First thing, number one, you identify better with the quote unquote peaceful personality of Douglas because you are, maybe you are unsure of yourself. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But it feels like that's his way of trying to say, I need to stifle that. Now, that peaceful personality of Douglas, I think we can all kind of agree now, knowing that, she always identified with maybe not being quite comfortable in her body prior to becoming Aaliyah. And that might be why she was this peaceful person, because she was just not being herself. And he can't even come out of himself to realize that she's just not being herself. And I think really and truly the term that he needed to use better than peaceful is docile. That's the term he needed to use. You like the fact that Douglas is docile and Aaliyah is not, and that bothers him. And I feel like straight up he's embarrassed by her. He's embarrassed by her. And then that kind of just lends to the fact of, okay, well then Sean, is that an age thing? Is that a personality thing? I don't know. But if you can't handle someone who's in their 20s, who's gonna live it up because she's in her 20s, then don't be with her. And then don't turn around and basically say to her, you're too much of an Aaliyah and I need you to be more of a Douglas. That's just wanting her to stifle down who she is, and that's so fucked up. I fucking can't stand him. And it's not because I wish I could like him. I think he seems like he's deep down an okay guy. But when I see someone trying to stifle someone when they have spent their entire life being stifled, whether by being in a conservative family or being in a religious conservative family, I hate this for her. Now, do I understand that he needs to come to terms? Yes, 100%. There needs to be grace put for him so he can get used to the changes. But either you get used to the fucking changes and you are open to being used to the fucking changes, or you're not. And if you're not, get the fuck out. That's what I have to say. And it doesn't get much better in the next time on after this, but anyways, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we will jump in with, we're going to do Kyle and Annie first. So yeah, we'll be jumping in with that. Have you ever wanted to guest on a podcast like this one that you're listening to right now? Well, you can. You can definitely do this by visiting a website called Podmatch, where you can sign up and be available for all different types of podcasts that you can guest on. Or you can even search for a podcast and say, I want to guest on your podcast. I think we'd be a good match. So if you want to do this, you can go to our unique link, which is joinpodmatch.com/reality, and you can sign up and do exactly that. And you can find us and you can guest on our podcast. So again, that unique link is www.joinpodmatch.com. That's JOINPODMATCH.com/reality, REALITEA, and you can be a guest on our podcast. And I am back. So let's jump in with Kyle and Annie. This is a big ass eye roll in this whole fucking thing. Let's just jump. Now, I do know the things that have been going on with Kyle. Fuck this guy. Actually, I should take that out. Apparently, he's coming after people. I know the things that's been said about him. I am not going to address it, except for pretty sure I saw this guy on Dr. Phil. I'm pretty sure I saw him on Dr. Phil. Thanks to Cray Cray, I unlocked a core memory. But I do feel like I've seen this guy before on Dr. Phil. However, that's as far as I'm going to go with this. I'm not going to talk about anything else for my own sanity, as well as I don't need him coming after anybody, coming after me. Don't even fucking try it though, because I know you'll have zero case. I have lawyers on my corner, so go for it. But anyways, I'm not going to say anything more about what's going on outside of this show. And again, if he has a problem with that, then maybe you shouldn't have been on the show. But I'm not going to be saying anything else besides what is happening in this show, just for my own sanity and also for that reason. So we're going to stick it to this and only this. And that is where that's going to go. So if anyone is triggered by him, I will just kind of add a little snippet in the beginning of this to tell you kind of roughly what point you should get to. Doing timestamps, it's a little timestamps. I do them for the trigger warnings, but it's a little difficult for me to do trigger warnings, to do timestamps for things like this. It's too kind of time consuming, but I'll kind of do a little snippet at the in the beginning to kind of say, if you want to bypass him, go to this point. So anyways, let's jump into it. So here comes Kyle wearing more gym attire, 80s gym attire. He comes and he kind of comments on the fact that she's drinking coffee, and he says, "Did you take sugar in your coffee?" And she says, "No, she didn't. Probably she likes black coffee. I don't know." And the fact that this guy says, "Good," I'm like, I can't. I fucking can't. Even some of the content in the show I can't deal with. So we're just going to keep going. He says he doesn't drink coffee for his sperm count. Again, I can't. But anyways, they're going to go sightseeing. So he says, "You know what? I'm going to hold your hand now," because he is a gentleman. No, it's because she's acquired enough points for him to hold her hand. That's all that is. Anyways. So they're going to be, let's go back a little bit. Annie explains that there are 5 islands that make up Malta. So she lives on the main island of Malta, and they're going to be going to a different island that I think is a more popular island of Malta, and it's very beautiful. It looked gorgeous. So that's where they're going to be going. I didn't catch which island this was, sorry, but that's what they're going to be doing. So while they're kind of headed to the ferry to go to this other island, they're driving, and every time he's speaking, I tell you, probably every 5 or so seconds, this man is touching his balls. Okay, he's fucking adjusting himself every 5 seconds. And eventually she's like, why the fuck? And she says, what are you doing? And he says, like, I have to adjust because sitting, guess what, guys? Guess what, fellas? I'm gonna tell my boyfriend this too. Apparently sitting is really bad for your sperm count. Really bad. It's bad to sit. It's a no. And he's like, it's really bad. So what he has to do is keep adjusting himself. Now, this part, I hate to give him this, but this is true. If your balls overheat, it's not good for your sperm. So you gotta keep your balls cool at all times. But sometimes that's unavoidable. But I guess if you are a quote unquote digital nomad, and you can just wear gym shorts all the time, I guess it's fine. 80s. My guy walked out looking like George Michael and Wham. And you know what? I actually really hate to say that because I can't compare these two. George Michael, he will never be. May he rest in just the greatest paradise where he deserves to be. But he should be here. But if he had to be up there, just the greatest paradise. Anyway, but yeah, he literally comes out looking like that. Like he's about to say, wake me up before you go. In these fucking gym shorts. Anyway, so yeah, anyways, it says Ben is sitting bad. So he has to adjust himself. And she's like, well, can you just not? And he says, I can't help it. My balls are too big. The biggest fucking eye roll I have ever done in my entire life was when this fucking guy said his balls were too big. And you know what? It was simultaneously to when Annie did the biggest eye roll of her fucking life when he said that his balls were too big. Listen, fellas, chances are his balls are not big. Then again, she said his dick was big, but that doesn't mean anything. A big dick does not constitute big balls. They're two different things. Like, sorry, babe, for what I'm about to say if he's potentially listening to this, but no one knows who you are. My man's dick is big too. And he doesn't have like humongous balls that he has to keep adjusting himself. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just like, what are you talking? No, it's not because you have big balls, you idiot. It's because you just have to let the world know that I donate sperm. And the reason I have to keep doing this is because my balls are going to overheat. So the reason I have to keep doing this is because I just have to let the whole, no, I have to tell everybody that I donate my sperm to everybody. I help the women on the planet be able to populate my seed everywhere. So in order for me to keep doing that, I gotta make sure my balls don't overheat. Anyways. Yeah, okay, big balls. So now they're at this island now, and I guess she wants to brush her hair because her hair's been blowing in the wind. And it's like, oh, can I do it? Can I brush her hair? Now, I don't know why this made me feel really weird. It felt like a horror movie when the child starts brushing their mother's hair. You know? Like, I feel like there's a horror movie out there where there's like a really scary person brushing their mother's hair. Anyways, he's brushing her hair and he's not brushing it hard enough, I guess. I hate everything I'm about to say. It's trigger warning for, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyways, just trigger warning for this whole thing. But he is brushing her hair and she's like, that's not hard enough. Brush it harder. And he's like, oh, you like it hard? You like it rough? I just barfed in my mouth. It's so gross. Oh, you like it rough? No. Actually, yes, I do, but not with you. I really do without you. Yeah. But yeah, she says she does like it hard. That's lovely. But then she brings up this trip apparently that he took to Australia. I thought he was in London. So wait, he went to Australia, then he went to London, then he went to Malta. This guy is busy, busy, busy. But I don't know if she knew he went to London. Because according to the timeline that we were given, he went to London first. then he went to Malta. But according now to what I'm hearing, he went to Australia and then Malta. I'm so confused. I wonder if she doesn't know he went to London. Anyway, he was definitely in London. We saw him. Unless he went to London after and they're trying to do this weird timeline thing. I don't know. But anyways, she is asking about this Australia trip, right? And she's like, what were you really doing? And this, okay, before he says anything, she's like, did you have sex, to donate with anybody? And this fucking guy says, darn, my brain, I think there's sets in the amnesia because I really don't remember what I did in Australia. And I'm like, so wait, your answer to avoid said question is I don't remember what I did? This man really hasn't been in many relationships, has he? Because I feel like to avoid, you need to avoid better than that. And saying I don't remember is just not the way to do it. Anyway, so she says, well, then that's my answer to the question. You giving me a non-answer is the answer. So Annie says, letting me guess is worse than just telling me. Tell me the truth and I can work with that. Like I can figure out how I'm going to deal with that. But the fact that you're making the decision for me is going to be worse for everybody. So he then says, yeah, I did. I did have sex with someone in order to donate. He says, she was single. Okay. She wanted to get pregnant. And, she thought that, doing it, this is the through intercourse was the best way, to do it. This was a decision she apparently made, I'm sure with zero coaxing on his part. And, yeah, so this is what she did. And he continues on by saying, she was really fucking desperate. She's older. I would love to know what his idea of older is. But anyway, she was older. She was really fucking desperate. So here comes Xavier, Kyle, to help. Here he comes to save the day. Really and truly. And he's like, IVF was going to be too expensive, which totally agree with. IVF is really expensive. I'm actually going to say something at the end of their segment, to kind of just add a little more of my feelings and thoughts and maybe other people's feelings and thoughts too. But, yes, IVF is very expensive, but I'll say what else I'm going to say to the end. And he's like, it's the procedure. Me sticking my dick into this girl's vagina. It's a procedure. I didn't know that. I don't, okay. All right. So it was just a procedure. It's fine, guys. It's fine. Let's pack it up. It's time to go. It's fine. It was a procedure. It was medically needed. Doctor said so. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, and I do agree with him on this aspect. He says, I guess I just have a different view on sex. Actually, I agree and disagree, and I'll explain why. I agree in the sense that I do think, I do wonder if this guy's on the spectrum, but that doesn't change the fact that he is still a narcissist. But, because it can be yes and. But I do wonder if he probably does have a different view on sex because of this fact. But on the other hand, I also disagree because I think, God, this is when I need a Patreon because I would so pick this on Patreon and not on public feed. I feel like this is a kind of person who thrives on having the control to dictate what a woman is going to do, especially a single woman. Do you notice that I don't hear him say a single woman opts for him donating into a cup? that I only ever hear him say lesbian couples opt for that. Now, I would be curious to know if he has done the quote unquote natural way of donating with someone who identifies as queer. I would love to know that, because I think I also have thoughts and feelings about that, but I'm going to keep that to myself until I find out otherwise. But do you notice, unless I'm wrong on this too, but do you notice that a lot of his quote unquote natural inseminations are with single women? And I'm going to save that to the end. The rest of the I want to say, I'm going to save to the end. But yeah, so he does that. And she tells him, sorry, so yeah, before I finish that, so he has a different view on sex. He says, I don't see it as cheating. I 100% agree with him thinking he doesn't see this as cheating. It is cheating, but I totally understand how he doesn't see this as cheating. Totally get it. Because it's procedure. It's nothing. It's nothing. Anyway, she tells him, if we are going to be serious, then this has to stop. And I think she would love the whole thing to stop. It will never happen. He will never stop doing what he's doing. And whoever he ends up with, if he ends up with anybody, is going to have to fucking accept it. And you should, if you choose to be with this guy. But anyways, I'll get to that in a second, because I have more thoughts. But I think really and truly, if she can't have it all to end, she at least wants that to end. And I don't see how that's not a lot to ask personally. If were to be in a relationship with a guy like this, I don't see how that's too much to ask. She says, I feel a connection with you. It would be a pity to throw that away. And he agrees. He has a connection with her too. She wants to take the night after hearing all this to think about it, because she is hurt. She's allowed to be. He does say, I want her to be happy, but she knew what I was about, and donating is the most important thing to him. Okay. So with that last part there being said, 100%, again, I hate to fucking agree with this guy, but 100% he is correct. You knew. I like Annie. I really do like her. But you knew what you were getting yourself into. You contacted him for the mere purpose of him being able to donate to you. You came into this with that purpose. So how can you turn around and say, oh my God, why is he donating, quote unquote, naturally with these women? Of course he is. You knew that. So don't act surprised that he's still continuing on with doing it. You knew you're getting yourself into by being with him. Now, on the other hand, I did say I was going to leave this part to the end. I was having a conversation with a coworker of mine. Well, she's a friend of mine, coworker of mine. We know each other now for 7 years. And we were talking about this because I know she watches the show. And we were talking about him in particular. And we both came to the same conclusion that in the first episode, when he is talking about the process and what he does during quote unquote natural insemination, and the fact that he has to like do this handstand position and he kind of hangs over them and he stays in them for 15 minutes. Can you imagine the fucking conversation between these two people? Can you imagine the conversation? Like, that came to my brain. This was yesterday. Came to my brain and it was like, can you imagine that conversation? Like, it's not like it's a natural thing. Like, if I'm in a relationship, I have a boyfriend, I have sex with him. If I'm in a similar situation with him and, we're getting down and dirty and whatever, trying to, making babies and shit. Like, if that's what we're doing, the natural thing is to revel in that moment of completion. Right? That's the natural thing to do when you're in a relationship with someone for whom you have sex with. is you revel in that. You're still in it. It's just a natural thing. This is the person that you love, that you're emotionally connected to, that you're comfortable with, and you're going to be in that moment. What the fuck happens in this moment between him and this stranger? Pretty much. And vice versa for her, her and this stranger. When he's just sitting in her for 15 minutes post completion. What the fuck? You literally have to wonder if they're like, so, how's your day going? Yeah? Yeah, my day's been good too. Yeah, just been, doing setups on the bed and shit. The weather's really, really cold here. Yeah, it's England. England tends to be really damp and cold. Yeah. No, I've heard that. Yeah. Happy the Queen, though, sad about her death there. And King Charles is really, really sad about his cancer diagnosis. Oh, shit. Yeah. And Kate Middleton. Damn, the God. So much shit happening. Yeah. Yeah. You like it here? You like it here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We still got about, 13 minutes left to go. Can you imagine? Like, it's so fucking weird to me what this guy chooses to do. It's so weird. Or, oh God, it's so weird. I could never. It's so weird. But whatever. At the end of the day, him kind of saying that this is the most important thing to him. Donating is the most important thing to him. He's not doing this for women around the world who struggle with fertility. And yes, him saying IVF is expensive is true. And not only that, it is mentally and emotionally taxing because, again, a conversation that I had with my friend at work is same thing. Is we talked about the IVF aspect of it. It's like you maybe get one round if you're lucky, and then what happens if it fails? Sorry, again, I should have said trigger warning for anyone who's gone through this. Just be gracious to yourself. But yeah, it's true, and I totally understand. Like, if this process of just wanting to start a family is really difficult. I don't really go into much detail here on this podcast, but I feel like with this is maybe a time to kind of go a little bit. I have been actively trying to get pregnant now for almost 2 years and it not happen, and it be a very difficult process for both me and my partner. And it's mentally very taxing and exhausting when you try every month and you're doing the tests, the ovulation tests, and I'm taking medication currently. I'm taking progesterone. I'm doing the whole thing, and it's not the end. It's just the tip. I'm gonna try not to get emotional. It's the tip of the iceberg of trying to successfully get pregnant, and it's difficult. It's a very difficult process. And to see this fucking guy prey on the people who suffer to have this happen, and he's preying on that, it's sickening, it's angering. And but it's one thing if he was doing it really and truly to not be a dick. Maybe the dick's the wrong word, be gross and about it. It's one thing if someone like this were to do this really and truly out of the kindness of heart. You know what? I'm not even debating that maybe it started that way, but somewhere around the way, shit went awry. And it's really angering from that standpoint of a woman who's going through this actively, to kind of see him really prey on people like that. And that's exactly what he's doing. And it's really upsetting. It's fun to watch on this show, but when you think about it, it gets a little sad. But again, I don't even know. I don't even know. But anyways, that's it for Kyle and Annie. Let's finish it up with threesomes. Alex and Adriano. Adriano. Okay. I was saying his name. It's fun. Adriano. So we are now in Italy, Alex. Alex is in Italy, and she has to take a train to where he is. So that's what she's doing. She says that he needs to just knock it the fuck off with these threesomes. Like, what the fuck? I agree. He does. So we see him picking her up. They meet up. They seem very genuine and they're hello. I'm feeling it. I really am until you start remembering, or he really, really, really wants to have a threesome. He really, really does. That passion, three people becoming one. Anyway, so they're getting ready to go out for dinner. She kind of mentions to him before we get the full picture, I really want to stay in Italy. The what? So we get some context and he says he has been spending a lot of time in Australia over the last 9 years or so. And he has kind of come to the conclusion that he wants to move to Australia and he wants her to move with him. She's a little bit unsure about moving to Australia. Don't understand why she would be that unsure to move to Australia. If Australia had less deadly animals that would kill me, I would move to Australia. I'm I'm never moving to Australia. Australia looks beautiful and I really, 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 really want to go, but I really, 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 really don't want to be killed by a poisonous spider that I have never even heard of and somehow end up in the depths of hell in Australia. So, yeah. But anyways, this is where he wants to go and she doesn't want to go. So he explains that because Italy is very conservative, Australia is a little more quote unquote open. He says this is why he wants to move to Australia. Everybody, the reason he wants to move to Australia is because yes, they're open, but they're going to be really, 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 really open about doing threesomes for which his partner is not. And we're going to get a little more information on that in a minute. That makes you go, oh. And yeah, so he says because Italy's a little more conservative and, the church, that's where the good old Vatican is and everything, right? That's, not so open with the threesome of it all, right? So this is his main, this is his main goal for moving to Australia. He does say the personal training as well, but this is the main goal. This is it right here. So, but apparently we're going to find out really how open Australia is because she says, listen, because he said, what do I have to do to convince you to move to Australia? And she says, listen, I just need to feel secure in knowing that you are going to have my back. I'm not going to be able to get home easily. Now, I feel like it's half one dozen of the other. No matter where the fuck you go, you're in fucking Europe. But anyways, what do I fucking know? Curious. I don't remember where she's from. I feel like it's Atlanta, but I can't remember exactly which state she's in. So I am curious to know, how far is it from, you know what? We're going to pause. I'm going to find out because I feel in my gut, I could be wrong. I feel in my gut she is from, no, she's from Texas. Is it Texas that she's from? It's either Atlanta or Texas. I feel like she's in Texas. So I think she's in Texas. So I'm going to do a little thing here. I don't know where exactly in Texas she is. I know Texas is fucking huge. We're going to pick a spot in Texas. I'm going to say Dallas and we're going to pick a spot and I'm going to find out how far is it from either place. 1 second. You won't feel the difference. Okay. So I don't know exactly where in Italy he is. So this is we're just going to take a little guesstimate here. So I don't think he's in Rome either way, but let's say roughly, from Dallas, Texas to Italy, it's roughly, I think directly about 10 to call it 13 hours. Anywhere from there, about 10 to 13 hour flight. Now, Dallas to Australia is shit. She's right. It's way further. It could be roughly anywhere. Like, I don't know exactly where she's going to want to go or where he was going to want to go. We'll just say these 3 places. If it's going to be Sydney, it's 17 hours. Okay. Brisbane, 20 hours and 20 minutes. Melbourne, 10 hours and 5 minutes. So it's far. It's really far. Yikes. So, yeah. Yeah, I'd want to be secure too before I fucking move to Australia. Because here's why. She just blurts the fuck out in this moment. Listen, you went to Australia. Then when you were in Australia, you met someone who you claimed was willing to do threesomes with you. And you told me, deuces, let's be friends. And that was that. And then clearly he came crawling back. And he's like, it didn't really go that way. I don't care which way it fucking went. I don't care if it went up while she was going down. Whatever. I don't care which fucking direction it was going. Okay? I don't give a shit. Whichever way this fucking pancake is flipping. Okay? You did it. And that right there for me, if this man came crawling the fuck back to me saying, baby, I'm so sorry. Like if he's pulling a fucking Ben on fucking Sunny and Below Deck right now, if you don't know, you listen to the recap of Below Deck that came out, I think yesterday or a few days ago from when you're getting this. If that's what he did to me, I'd be like, fuck you. Who the fuck you think you coming back to? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. Oh no. Oh no. No, no. Anyway, that's apparently what happened. And he says, but you did it. How can you say you don't like it? Well, you can't say you don't like something until you try it. So she tried it and she didn't like it. What? It's like going to someone and saying, I really don't like, I don't know, cannolis. I really don't, you're wrong, but I really don't like cannolis. Well, have you had a cannoli? And clearly not, because if you did, you would like it. But anyways, and that person comes around and said, no, I've never had a cannoli. Well, how would you know that how would you know? Because once you taste a cannoli, it tastes like heaven. But in this case, we say, you're not going to know if cannoli tastes like heaven or hell until you taste it, right? Same thing. How are you going to know if you like a threesome unless you try it? Now, I know it's not so much that I don't like a threesome. I've never had a threesome. I have no interest of trying to find out if I do like a threesome or not. Neither will my man. And again, I feel like it's not unusual for a man, doesn't matter, straight, queer, whatever, it doesn't matter. I think it's every man's desire to have a threesome or multiple partners at one time or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a thing. Okay. So ladies, if you've been with a man, it's a fucking thing. And it's not unusual for that for me, but it's then when he says, I want that a part of every single fucking relationship because when the powers of 3 become 1, like, it's apparently so euphoric that he has to do it again. I'd have zero patience for this fucking guy, honestly. He's cute. But I'd have zero patience for him. Anyway. So, yeah. She just doesn't want that for herself. And I think that's understandable. You get to a point where you grow up a little bit and you're like, I want something, I want some sort of commitment. Doesn't matter what that commitment looks like. I'm not saying it has to be monogamy. whatever works for you, but you do want some sort of commitment in your life. And if that is what she's looking for now, and she's ready to have that now because she wants to be married, she wants to have kids, she's 30, and if that's what her goals are in her life, then you're not going to keep fucking around and not having that happen. And I think honestly, this guy's wasting her time. I don't know. Maybe he does want those same things, but I just, I don't know. I feel like she's the kind of person, and I can relate to her because I feel the same way. And it's not to judge anybody else and what they do in their life and their sex life and their business. It does not involve their children. It's not, I'm just saying for me, and I think she maybe thinks the same way, is why would I continue fucking around and finding out when I'm a mother? Why would I do that? And she wants to be with someone who is also not going to want to fuck around and find out because he's a father or he's a husband or whatever the case may be. And if that is what she's looking for, then she is not going to get that in him. I don't think he's willing to give that up. And I don't think she's willing to give in. They're not going to work. But, so she said, yeah, it's not going to happen. And he said, again, he knew from his first experience and he wanted to include in all of his relationships. So when he met her, he said that he was like, yes, this is great. This girl wants to do threesomes. She's done threesomes before. She wants to do it. She's all about it. But then she flipped the script. I believe him. I may not particularly like what he stands for, but I believe him. I 100% believe that she probably told him, guess what I've done? And because you seem to be really into this, guess what? I've done it and I'm so down to do it. But I think she was telling him this to be accepted by him. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but I do think that's what happened. I do agree. I do believe him. Again, I would love to hear from her, but I do believe him at this point. She says, what is more important, me or the threesomes? This fucking guy says, how about both? And she says, you can't have both. But he could have both. But he could have both without you. Well, that's not him having both. You know what I mean? He can be in a committed relationship and still have a threesome or threesomes in his life if he makes the right. You know, he needs St. John's girlfriend. That's who he needs. He needs someone like that. So yeah, he says, you gotta choose. And he says, I will continue to keep asking. Like, I'm not gonna stop asking. Yeah, clearly. She says, please don't do that. But he is gonna keep doing that. He is gonna continue doing that. Either he's gonna do, or he's gonna cheat on you. If he hasn't already. In order to get threesomes. But they're going to table this conversation for now because they're gonna go fuck. Because they haven't fucked in a while, as we already heard from Adriano earlier. So that's what they're gonna do. Anyway, that is it for Alex and Adriano. Let's go to the next time on. So Luke apparently has made some glasses for one of his fucking businesses, and he spent $1,100 each, and he made 300 of them. Are you fucking stupid? Madeline also thinks he's fucking stupid. Alex's cousin Tiffany is here. She apparently has been traveling all over Europe. She's gonna make a little pit stop in Italy to see Alex. And Adriano is an atheist, apparently. And Alex is not. God is very important to her. Here's another fucking reason these two aren't gonna work. Are you kidding? Not long term, anyways. And not to worry, this, I'm assuming, is also the cousin he wants to have a threesome with. Annie accuses Kyle of being a savior of all women needing babies. Well, the shoe fits. Sean tells Aaliyah, I miss Douglas. I'm gonna rage already, and it hasn't even happened. The episode hasn't even happened yet. He says, I miss the quiet side. The only thing that I will say about this is I think Aaliyah holds her own and says Douglas is gone. And stop fucking dead naming her. Stop it. Stop it. Stop the whole fucking thing. Stop mispronouncing her. Stop dead naming her. Stop the fucking nonsense. If you can't handle it, there's the fucking door. Yes, it's gonna break your heart, but you know what? It will work out for her in the long term. Anyways, that is it for this episode of Love in Paradise. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.